here I am, making my first film. I had to find my talents. I came to New Orleans, I don't know anybody that fit my film. So I had to find a man for Benga, my grandmother, a woman, and then her 3 children, at least. Now, at one time it was big, but I had to, of course, narrow things down as I understood the resources that were available and time. And so at one point, I was like, I'm gonna put on a hat if I have to, and just do it myself. And my film producer was like, you're gonna do it yourself. You're gonna act the lead. You know, I don't have any acting experience, but I figured,
No.
she has I have her nature, it's in my DNA. So if I have to, I don't want to. So he went and found me this beautiful, wonderful talent, Elena Guidry. We didn't find her until last, and she's key to the thing. And he didn't really know her like that. He just would see her online, and she said yes. And I'm telling you, she was so giving and so beautiful. I just hope she stays like that, because she's growing, and I'm honored to have her on the first film. And I worked on the next level. It was beautiful. I would like for her to be part of it. Producer, who was part of the cohort, this is what she was doing. She found, thank goodness, she knew some folks. And when Benga came, he had these long dreads, beautiful long dreads, and he was beautiful. He almost kind of looked like Benga. I was like, the dreads, oh my God. And then I just said, hey, it's gonna be cool, New Age, because I wanted to incorporate some New Age stuff. That's what I was doing. It didn't happen. You saw it a little bit, but you didn't get it. It wasn't like you really got that. Like I wanted it to be a big movement with that. But it was cool. So I was gonna do that anyway. So then we just put it in his hair in a rubber band and a ponytail, and you know, when you didn't see the front, you didn't see the locks, and when you did see the locks, it was beautiful. He was beautiful. And then I have 3 little boys. So we're in this pre-production. I at least have my actors. My location, I thought, was solid. It was set. I was going to Lincolnbeach. Lincolnbeach is the only beach that Africans could, go to, back in the day. I had spent the night out at Lincolnbeach with some friends. Ancestral, it was spiritual, it was incredible out there. So I had a strong connection. And when they said I was doing this film, I knew it was going to be out at Lincolnbeach. One of the film producers, he was like, okay, let's go out to Lincolnbeach. His father was there. So his father, Gian is his name, and myself, we drove out. It's also closed right now. Now they're getting ready to put millions of dollars, so it's definitely going to change. It's going to be beautiful, but it'll be different. It's closed to the public, but people go, and they know really people go. But we got to climb over fences. They have a manager that some kind of manager that comes through, and they'll cut down when things get too wild. But when I went, it was wild, and I was glad about it because I needed that wildness and forest kind of feel to it. So I was happy about that. We had to climb over this fence with his dad. Then there was a train, big old train park. We had to climb under the train. We all climbed under the train and went down, and I left them and just really ventured out. I was like excited about Lincolnbeach. So Lincolnbeach it is. I wanted to partner with big organization. It's not Smithsonian, but they have a big historical place that I would partner with, especially for this story. Old, vintage, beautiful historical garments that I could have used. But instead I had to, because of COVID and that sort of thing, I thrifted, so to speak. And I didn't even have to do much of that because a friend let me use She gave me a bunch of dresses, but none of them worked out for what I was looking for, but except for one, and it was the blue dress that Mary Elena wore. And then I asked Elena and I would meet on Zoom, talk about her parts as well as the others. I do it with everybody, but you know, Elena and the leads, I would do single out, and the boys too. We talk about, you know, the script and just everything. And so she and I had a really in-depth, I sent her over background information and all of that. And then I told her about the wardrobe, and I said, the only thing missing are these dresses, what I would like for Mary to wear. And so I showed her a sample of what I was looking for. And she was like, I think I have something. She goes, I think I have something. I said, the only thing is, you know, we're going to be in water. And so, are you okay with that? Because we're going to be in water. And so it needs, she goes, oh yeah, no, that's fine. And I asked them actually in a group meeting, I said, we won't go out like if you can't swim. It'd probably be just, you know, thighs, legs, that sort of thing. She said, still, she said, I have something. And so the dresses, we met again and she showed me and they were perfect. She had this white dress. She would wear the black dress after Oda had died. And the white dress she could, you know, wear throughout. And then we put the blue dress on during a more kind of picnic kind of moment. I didn't know. That's what I'm talking about Elena. She was so giving. And she brought, one of her dresses was a 1935 dress. But she had that dress on, sitting in the river, lake, ocean, whatever, it's all mixed up, in Fountainbleu. Sitting there in the water, and then it rained, it was muddy, and so I was like, when she told me it was a 1935 dress, I was just like, wow, baby, wow. But she was, you know, open and willing. The day before my shoot, I get a call from them, I get a text. Myself and the cinematographer, the creative manager, and my film producer, creative manager of the organization, were basically telling me that I wouldn't be able to have the Lincoln location. So at first it was just kind of like, so I didn't realize that it was a no, it was a hard no, because I fought. It's text messages just like forever, and then finally one of the guys said to me, says, look, it's really about safety too. Remember, and he just explained and reminded me of his father and us climbing up under this train, which was really a live train. When we got back, the train was gone. I thought it was just a broken down train. So it really like, wow, that was a live train? And so he talked about that. Then we would have to do, I was doing a night scene. So we'd have to carry equipment, climb over the fence with equipment, and, you know, just not safe. And he was right, even being down there, it's really secluded, and coming back up with all this equipment. So they told me, hey, this is where your creativity almost jumps into superpower creativity. Because the life of a filmmaker, you have to bend. You know, it's always going to be Murphy's Law. There's always going to be something going on that you didn't plan for, and you gotta, you know, move. And then, so when the way he said it, it was like exactly what I needed. And I've been there through life, right? Bending, you know, the roadblocks, the obstacles, the potholes, you know, however you want to say it, but, you know, just surviving and being graceful in that process. As much as I possibly can. Thank you, God. But I understood it. So, and this is even my people, you know, our people, you know, making magic, or you see your grandmother, you know, you come in, it's like a brand new house, same furniture for 30 years, but she's always, you know, shifting and, you know, making things different and feel different, shifting that energy, she moving, you know, furniture around, and I'm making exotic dishes out of it, you know, this and that. But that's really kind of what happened there. And then a big part of my film was this big fire that I needed, and I was gonna do a bonfire out on the beach. Which is what did. It was a big piece of the story. It was part of the true story. It was the story, the part where I imagined and saw it in my head. Even when they told us the story about Benga, he danced around this fire, set this fire, and danced around this fire before the next day or that night he would commit suicide. So I needed that. It was just like everything, and it could not go. We could not have it. It was a no-go. And I even fought for, okay, maybe, which is goofy, but I did. My neighbors had those outdoor fireplaces, and so the fire is maybe about that high. And in my mind, it was just this bonfire, but I thought some way just to have the fire there. Oh my goodness, would make it happen. I even brought out a whole bunch of candles and stuff. Just maybe I can get this fire. I also was working with, you know, because that was true story, but I also was working with elements with the short story. Not a lot of props, and so I was using the water and nature, and so I thought the fire would be a really good addition to it in that sense. So no fire, couldn't do the fire, and so I had to move to the next. So then we went location scouting, and first I was going to do City Park, and they did have some beautiful places in City Park. I could have done both, but then you have to move people here and there. Again, like little resources, time, and all of that. So wherever we go, I want it to be that one place. That's what I learned, if I could make it happen. So my film producer, understanding what I needed, like I wanted expansive water. I didn't want to see land on the other side of it, like he's coming from Africa, and so I really wanted that, you know, that element. And so they listened, they really listened, and so they went out to the North Shore, which is further than Lincoln. My people would have to travel further, and you know, for us to get there, I think it was about maybe over 50 minutes. I can't remember. Maybe an hour, but in the other place like 15 minutes. But they went out there and they sent me the video. Better, great. It was beautiful. I don't even know that I said better at that point. It just was, it was different. It was lighter and brighter and beautiful. Lincolnbeach has a more darker, mystical sort of vibration to me, and you know, so one of like this place I think almost had kind of white sand. It was beautiful. So okay, let's be pretty. And so that's what we did. And then so the ups and downs, highs and lows, and all of that doesn't stop. Murphy's Law is definitely in existence. It's right there with us. It's part of the team.
That's all I know. That's all